Yeah.
You mentioned that it's changed the way that the company's working. What do you mean? What is that?
Well, I think we try to be very open within Google, so everybody can be aware of what's going on in different groups and whatnot. I think, though, sometimes, and as Wave has demonstrated, a little bit too eyes early can curtail your creativity a little bit. So when these guys kind of went off and tucked out their own little office and really did some wild and crazy things kind of on their own, I think they were able to be a little bit more free. And then later we roped in the rest of the company. So I think just that little bit of creative space is pretty important.
But at some point you started using it yourself and others?
Only very recently. I mean, it's only been in the past couple months that more broadly within the company people have started to use it. So we've barely had a chance. And it's, although the developers are, that we're making available to today are starting to use it roughly at the same time as I am.
What about inside internal groups like the Gmail team, the Google Apps team? I mean, there seems to be a fair amount of integration that's going to have to go on.
Once we figure out exactly what makes sense to integrate and how to integrate it, and I think that's the nice thing about it is that if we'd started asking those questions, 2 years ago, it would have led to, I think, a very different outcome. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we just let them do their own thing for a while and are more recently asking those questions creates a product that we would not have otherwise had.
This is a little bit of a different thing than Gmail Labs, for example, which is only accessible to internal Google coders. You're opening this up much earlier.
From the developer API point of view, that's one of the things that they really thought through from the outset. They want to have third-party support built in. And that's true that Gmail does not have that kind of extensibility yet. But we hope that apps more broadly will become extensible over time.
What about mingling the code bases of Chrome and this?
Well, I think that this runs really well on Chrome. And I think that they've been actually sending feedback to the Chrome team about what they need in Chrome and what kind of performance benchmarks we need. So that's been actually a very successful collaboration. Also, it's been a very good collaboration for the Google Web Toolkit team, because Wave is all built on GWT. Our new AdWords interface is all built on top of GWT, so we increasingly are using that, and those have been very successful interactions.
So do you think there might be some templates built for GWT that would allow your developers developers outside the company to be able to, move quicker?
I hope so, and it's not just a question of templates. There are also some important performance issues that they've been working on, just producing somewhat faster JavaScript and whatnot, and that's been very important.
What about the background tasks in terms of web workers? Is there an interaction there in terms of the way GWT is going to work?
I don't know. That's something we have to ask.
Well, it seems like this real-time thing, obviously you have an interesting opportunity, put it that way, to handle the kind of issues that FriendFeed and to some extent Twitter have already sort of experimented with.
Well, and I think the interesting thing here is that it's even faster than that. Character by character is, it may seem kind of silly, like writing one character at a time. But in fact, I came from a similar world to Lars. When Unix Talk was widely used, it always went character by character. And I've kind of missed that all these years on the web. And I think it does give you actually a better, tighter communication loop than having to write out a whole line at a time. So I think it really sets a new benchmark in interactivity.
Can I ask you about the Sydney office? Are you pleased with their work? And
I'm obviously pleased so far. It's a very impressive early system. I think we need to see how it continues to develop. How they're going to have now the challenges, of course, the stability and scalability that they didn't really have to face until it was out there. But I have good confidence in that team, and good confidence also the infrastructure they're building off of. Things like Bigtable, internal to Google, taking advantage of Chrome and Google Web Toolkit. I'm glad to see those things paying off in being able to create a good user experience in the end.
So you think you send more engineers down to Sydney?
Well, I think they mostly recruit locally. It's not, I guess I phrased it maybe incorrectly. I mean, they were in fact based in Sydney, though they spent a lot of time in Mountain View. Obviously, my meetings will happen in Mountain View. But they do recruit a lot of good talent down under.
Doesn't this have implications for working remotely? Isn't that going to change how Google operates in terms of disconnected teams?
Well, we were all worried that Wave would come out upside down because they're working on it down there. But I guess it's given us greater confidence. I think, in all seriousness, we believe in really tight-knit, community that really is communicating a lot all the time. But this did demonstrate that there was actually some benefit to a little bit of isolation early on. When Lars and Jed said we are going to rethink communication, they really did rethink it. I mean, a lot of other early ideas tend to get focused down to what you already have. In fact, the earliest versions of Gmail we used internally, there wasn't a distinction between chats and messages, and then we kind of lost that. And I think that was because of a little too much listening to people's expectations a little too early on.
What is your main role now at Google? Do you get involved in development? Do you oversee projects? How do you get involved in projects?
I get involved in a scattering of projects. There's too many for me to be deeply involved in all of them. But there are a handful, and one of the privileges, I guess, I can pick and choose a little bit of the things that I focus on.
Are you still involved deeply in the search areas? For example, the development of the search engine, the core of the search engine?
Well, search is now such a broad topic that it's, there are many different aspects. I certainly followed the tool belt work quite closely, and I'm very interested in ramping that up. Some of the efforts around the timelines, the geographic capability, which is not yet in the tool belt, but you've seen in Google Experimental probably, a lot of those kinds of things.
Did you get a chance to try out Bing this morning?
No. Is it out now? Actually, that's good news to me. Is it out this morning?
I saw them announce it down in some studio. It's not public? Okay.
Oh, okay.
What about Wolfram Alpha?
I have used Wolfram Alpha, and in fact, Stephen in fact had demoed it to me probably a month prior to them putting it out there. I mean, I think it's very interesting. As some of you may know, I was actually an intern at Wolfram many years ago, and it's. I think first of all, having a web interface is something as powerful as that is actually the right way to go. And the idea that because you have now this web interface, you can bring in a much larger corpus of information than you would for installed software, for example. It really highlights the capabilities of that model. I mean, I think I'd like to keep playing with it more. I think it's going to keep developing in the areas. Okay, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Thanks.